And not so surprising news, that man who glues his hair down has absolutely revoked the security detail for none other than former Vice President Kamala Harris. Coincidentally, right in the same month that her book tour is supposed to kick off. And, of course, that is getting a lot of buzz. So that is making that man punch at the air and R&B slide down a wall somewhere. Now, here's the thing. Vice presidents typically do only get 6 months after service. However, there have been extenuating circumstances where you've had those details extended, i.e. Cheney, that was extended by none other than Obama. Now, Biden was not oblivious to the bullshit. He was just like, yeah, let me go ahead and put in some paperwork so I can go ahead and get folks squared away. Being his two children, which they already went ahead and revoked that shit. But it was real interesting how Don Don's little children got an extension on theirs and nobody batted an eyelash. We did, but you know what? We were just like, fuck it, he's gone. Anyways, um, Biden did put in paperwork for Harris to have 18 months. And like I said, that was revoked because, he just feels that he can just go and do whatever he wants to do, and said that it was illegal because it needs to go through Congress and what have you. But it absolutely can go through the president, as we have seen this has gone through the different presidents. And the fact that Biden, didn't even question whether or not the extension for none other than Don Don's 4 children and 4 adult children, but also their spouses, is what the taxpayers paid on their dime when he left office the last time. Now, of course, the little young one or whatever, he automatically gets it up until he was age 16. And that is just, again, primarily how this works. However, when there are extenuating circumstances, it is extended. Now, here's the other part where that man is out here punching at the air and trying to make sure his hair is still glued down, is the fact that none other than veterans are out here in support of former VP Harris, and they're just like, girl, we got your 6. They're like, just say the word, say less, and we're there. Don't even worry about it. You are well protected. He wants to remove that. That doesn't mean anything. They're like, we're out here and we see you, and all you got to do is say the word. And that right there is the respect that he's looking for, the honor that he's looking for, that he is not getting. Now, yes, does he have his little crazy people that are out here, that are, wanting to worship the ground that man walk on? Yes. However, there's a different level of honor and respect that these veterans are out here laying down, because you see what they're putting down. They just like, ma'am, we're here and we're ready for service. Anyways, um, thank God that there is a federal law in place that, he can't touch former presidents and their spouse, because we know just as sure as they black, if he could, he would absolutely revoke the Obama's security detail. So again, thank God that he cannot. And poor Clinton, who just got off a plane that somebody saw, he over there with a whole cardiac machine. Yep, him and that machine would have no security detail if that man had anything to do with it. So, like I said, thank God for the federal law or whatever, and the fact that it would take, more than an act of Congress to get that removed. But my God, on today, because what was the reason? What was the reason other than you plan to really cause some havoc and stir up the base, because it's about that time, got to make sure that these people be ready to vote and vote for whoever you put into these seats for them to vote for. But y'all, America's not a real place, and we knew, as much as that man said he would not, go after his political foes, that he was absolutely salivating at the moment to do so. And this right here was definitely a cherry pick for him to do. So, not surprising. You know, here we are. Y'all just make sure y'all go buy that lady book. And, kudos to y'all if you got tickets to go see her, because them things was gone faster than people could blink good. They were. Damn.
Like and subscribe to Mom's channel.